Okay, hello everyone. We're going to start this webinar from the Master in Design in Responsible AI with Andres, the director of the master program, and myself. I'm academic counselor here at Elisava. First of all, I'm going to explain a bit more about Elisava. Elisava is the first design school in Spain and one of the first ones in Europe. From now on, we have been teaching design and engineering and new technologies since like 62 years already. And we have 50 master programs, 20 summer courses, and one study abroad course that it's a 15 weeks program. That it's kind of an exchange. At the moment, we are in the Ramblas, just in the city center of Barcelona. We know that this master program, it's a blended program, and it's kind of like virtual and on-site. So in case you finally decide to take it, of course, you will be also in Barcelona, and you can use like all the facilities here at the school. Even if you decide finally to take all the program on site. Also, Elisava has even the classes and also some conferences and transdisciplinary workshops here that if you decide to come, you can participate in any of them in case you like it. And of course, now we are having like a very great time because we are also like developing different workshops here at the school. And yeah, anytime you are like more than welcome to come here and just see the facilities if you want. Well, now Andres Colmenares is going to start like well, and explain a bit further all the content of the program. And you can ask any question you have during the session in the chat. And also at the end of it, I will explain you how the application process works. Okay, so now please, Andres. Hello.
Thanks, Esther, and thanks everyone for making it to this webinar. Very excited that you're interested in this new program that we are going to learn a bit more about today. So for today, I've prepared a few things. Well, I will essentially do a presentation trying to provide everything that is not available on the website, which is, I mean, it's not that much, but I guess that by going through it together with you know, and me telling it, I hope that you get a better idea of what we are planning, why we are doing it, how we will work, and then of course try to address any questions that you have now. So as Esther said, I think that you have an option of like a Q&A button. It might be better to share the questions there, because then we can well, manage them in an easier way. But also, if you just want to drop the question on the chat, I think it's going to be manageable. So the presentation has 4 parts. I will start with an introduction and going a bit into the context, the purpose, essentially why we decided to do this master, to create it. Second part is going to be an overview of the program. Then we're going to go through the faculty that have been putting together for this program, and then add a bit of information about the application process and some financial options that I would like to share with you. So let's get started. I think that I would like to start by telling a little bit about myself, since I will be, or I'm the director of the program. It's a big word, director, but I see myself more as a guide for well, everyone that will join the master. So my name is Andres Colmenares. I was born in a city called Bogota, which is the capital of Colombia in Latin America. almost 40 years ago. I like to say that I wear many hats, actually 5 hats currently. So I'm the co-founder of a creative research lab called IAM. I will tell you a little bit more about IAM in a second. I'm also co-director of an initiative called Billion Seconds Institute that we created from IAM. I am the director of this master, and also more recently, I'm coordinating an initiative called Open Climate, which is an initiative created by people from different parts of the open movement, so different open communities like Open Science or Open Hardware, Wikimedia, Creative Commons, that are interested in taking climate action. So that's something else that I do, and in my scarce free time, I'm slowly researching a topic called solar center designing. So these are more or less my 5 hats. I'm also in the process of becoming a parent on my personal side. So, well, that's a little bit of me. And I would also like to start with a positionality statement, which is a tool that we are going to use actively through the master. And it's essentially the idea of understanding who is the person that is going to, well, what is the position or the positionality of the person that is going to, in this case, I will give the presentation today, but in the classes, in the courses, you will have many guests, the faculty, all of that. And I think it's important to understand where we are standing from, what is our worldview in relation to the worldview of everyone else in the room. So this tool of positionality statements is something that we have been using recently, and I think it's important. So essentially, I will share a few details about my positionality in terms of my identity. I identify myself as a Latin American and as a migrant. I have been living already for almost 14 years in Barcelona. So I consider Barcelona my home, but yeah, I have a life experience as a migrant that strongly influences my practice. In terms of my professional path, I like to think that I'm in a mid-career stage, even though I have been working already for 22 years. But I like to think that I'm in a mid-career. Then in terms of experiences of privilege, I am a cisgender man. I'm middle class, I'm able-bodied. I had access to post-secondary education, the second generation in my family that has access to university. So all of these combined experiences have put me in a position of privilege, and I like to be aware of that and be responsible for that. And then in terms of purpose, my life purpose is to transform the world through collective learning and the practice of critical hope. And this is a big driver behind the master. So I wanted to share this, or start by sharing my positionality with you. And since the master is actually a partnership between Elizaba and the organization that I co-founded, IAM, I would like to start by telling also a little bit about IAM, because it will help you understand also where the master is coming from, and everyone that will be involved as well, because it's very much a continuation of over 7 years of work as a creative research lab, where we like to think that we're able to help people and organizations reimagine the digital economy. So we have been working with different groups of citizens and organizations across media, culture, education, to help them make more responsible decisions, using futures as design tools and exploring the socio-ecological impacts of digital technologies and the network infrastructures that we know as the internet, through different collective learning initiatives, partnerships, and commissioned projects. We have a long-term mission in IAM, which is to contribute in creative, collaborative, and in collective ways to the reimagination of the digital economy into a climate neutral, regenerative, and plural ecosystem that is encouraging solidarity and critical hope today, tomorrow, and during the next billion seconds. So there's an important belief behind our practice, which is the idea that the future does not exist. that has been guiding our work since we started back in 2015. And this idea transformed into 3 principles that also are behind the way that we are shaping the master. These principles are the idea of using the word futures always in a plural form, because as I just said, we believe that the future in a singular way does not exist. We also like to use futures as tools for anticipation, for participation, and for better collective decision making, and also using futures for invention and for imagination rather than for prediction. So ultimately, we believe that futures are stories, and in this journey, we have been able to work with a broad range of partners, from Nesta, the innovation agency of the UK, to Red Bull, to WeTransfer, BBC, with foundations like the Open Knowledge Foundation, and we have been developing several projects with Elisava in the last few years, since we share the beautiful home of Barcelona. So I want to just share briefly 3 projects that we have done that have, let's say, we kind of the experiences from these projects helped us shape very different parts of the master. So back in 2017, we partnered with the University of Arts London in a project called Futures Studio. That was a almost 3-year experiential learning program, where dozens of students, they applied through an open call, and they had access to these learning programs, where we were looking essentially how the futures could be if young people were leading. We were speculating, for example, with the idea of creating a United Nations meeting that instead of all white males making decisions, it was a diverse representation of young people. So we were practicing critical thinking. We were practicing designing futures, designing narratives, and organizing in collectives, and that was a very beautiful experience that we had there, that informed a lot of the way that we currently design collective learning practices. Another important one was the opportunity to shape a new program called the Digital Future Society. This was a program that was started by the foundation that runs the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona, the Mobile World Capital, as a commission from the government of Spain. Essentially, it's a program bringing together academics, business representatives from business, and the public sector to develop research around the challenges and opportunities that emerging digital technologies are having in society. So here it was our first, let's say, our first projects and interactions with the whole topic of artificial intelligence. We had the chance, so we helped shape this initiative and then started working with them. One of the projects that we did was a prototype of a digital toolkit for people working in the public sector to help them go through a procurement process of any automated decision-making system. So essentially helping them to demystify AI when the big companies, I don't know, IBM, etc., come to them offering artificial intelligence systems to be used in the public sector. This was the starting point of an interest in the implications of AI that ended up shaping this master. And we also did a few years ago, a social innovation, like a residency program for Red Bull. It's called Red Bull Basement. It was deployed in a program that was deployed in many countries, but we were the partner in Spain. And we had the chance to work with them for a couple of years, bringing graduates, essentially people that were just in the final stage of their university time, to develop or incubate projects that ended up becoming startups and companies on the space of social innovation using emerging technologies. So these three projects, amongst many others that we have been doing in the last years, have informed the master that we are looking to start this year. Alongside those projects, we also have self-funded initiatives. We used to run a conference called IAM Weekend for like 7 years on the futures of the internet in Barcelona, which was our most visible project in IAM. And but with the pandemic and everything, it was very, very difficult to keep that running. So 2 years ago, we launched an initiative called Billion Seconds Institute, where essentially we are bringing together the people that were interested in these topics around a lifelong learning initiative. So it's literally a 1 billion second long project where we want to essentially create the spaces for conversation, for collective learning around topics that can help us reimagine how we are relating with digital technologies. What is our kind of sense of belonging with planet Earth? How can we use technologies to address the environmental emergency, and many other like big topics that demand like a different scale of thinking. So all of this journey has been guided by a common thread, which is the idea of having or cultivating a post-technological mindset. And this is at the core of the master. Post-technology is a term that was coined back in 2017 by a German researcher called Sarah Genner, who defined post-technology as the type of technology that is more concerned about being human than about the technology itself, and where the design goals are oriented to a conscious use of the technologies. So this concept, very present in all our projects, is what let's say is the core of what we ended up creating when Elizaba came to us asking to develop a master program about artificial intelligence and design. So it's important to mention this partnership because we are bringing I think the best of both worlds. Everything that Elizaba has been doing in the field of design, establishing a really strong presence in Spain and in Europe and elsewhere. We have been also lucky enough to teach and to collaborate for years in Elizaba, so it's a very international community and a very I would say it's a very kind of a family-driven school. People are very let's say, in comparison to other universities, it's a very flat hierarchy, I think, where a lot of people are really passionate about the design and design education. So with that shared interest, we decided to join forces and push forward this master. And one of the reasons IAM is also pushing this forward is because we are already collaborating with a number of organizations and initiatives around the world that have this shared interest in a more mindful use and design and relation with digital technologies. So there are initiatives as AIX Design in the Netherlands, the Logic Foundation in the US, Dreaming Beyond AI, which is based between France and Germany, Better Images of AI in the UK, the Green Web Foundation between the Netherlands and Germany, Open Climate, the network that I'm helping coordinate, and also bigger cultural institutions as Ars Electronica. All of these are in the network of IAM. All of these are going to be direct or indirect collaborators in the whole master experience, and are very excited about this, making all of these happen. So with that intro, I want to share with you why Elizaba and IAM are launching this master. So it starts with the question of a very, I would say, interesting question, which is, what is artificial intelligence? And I think there's a lot of buzz and hype today around this term, and for many people it's considered new. But in fact, when you look into the literature, artificial intelligence is a relatively old scientific discipline. It started in the 50s and essentially was a group of people interested in simulating different forms of intelligence using machines, but it was a theoretical field rather than a, let's say, a practical one. So back then in the 50s, the term artificial intelligence was used first by computer scientists, computer science researchers, and then was adopted by new media artists, by tech developers, journalists, and then, you know, since the term itself started to be very present, in particular in science fiction writings, and it started to be used to refer to what I consider a very fascinating speculation, which is that cognitive functions that humans have, as learning, as reasoning, as perception, or even something as complex as creativity, could be described and modeled with a high accuracy in order to them to be possible to be reproduced using computers. So this is the speculation, this is the theory that was seeded decades ago. And well, what happened that in particular during the last decade, there was an exponential growth of computational power. So essentially, the computers, the processors became more and more powerful. And at the same time, data collection technologies started to take a planetary scale. And this all, of course, influenced the media culture that is now completely data-driven. And so all of these factors in the last few years have enabled that theory to become a more practical field. And there are now many successful applications of those theories that we know as artificial intelligence systems. They are particularly in areas such as natural language comprehension, as image and speech recognition. So the adoption of these systems has been accelerating across industries. It is being used in the automation of processes, in automation of decisions, of tasks, at a scale that is completely unprecedented. And all of this is, of course, giving rise to very crucial and very complex, very interrelated challenges. Challenges that are ethical, that are societal, that are environmental, and that are happening across the public and private sectors. As you may already know, just I listed here 3 examples of the challenges. One being the way that some of these systems are augmenting systemic racism. And there's a very good documentary available on Netflix called Coded Bias that goes deep into it, following the research of an MIT Media Lab researcher on how facial recognition technologies are essentially augmenting the bias that are already existing in society. Other example, more recent, is all around. I guess that all of you have been reading, testing, speculating with, and having conversations about ChatGPT, this brand of the tool that OpenAI has released to the public recently. And well, there's so many debates, and it's a very powerful tool essentially. So we are only starting to see the implications of releasing these very powerful tools to openly to the people, to everyone. So the case that I recently learned about is how this tool is being used for disinformation, how it replicates the bias. For example, when you ask ChatGPT if whether a person should be tortured or not, they replicate the bias of the available information, because all of these technologies are essentially mirrors from everything that is wrong in society as well. And another challenge that we are particularly, we have been working actively on is the environmental impact of these digital technologies. And as an example, I bring a fact, which is that a single AI system can have over 250,000 pounds of carbon emissions. And as a sector, the use of AI can easily be having the same amount of emissions as the whole aviation industry. And this is, of course, an industry that is growing like crazy and is expected to grow more and more. So all of these are just examples of the implications. I'm not saying AI is good or bad or anything. It's just the implications and the challenges that we are facing. So because all of these in recent years, and as a way to address these challenges, different research institutions, governments, even private companies around the globe have been developing very robust research projects in order to design guidelines, principles, methodologies, tools to make all of these AI systems more ethical, more accountable, to making the term that many organizations use is trustworthy, and all of these, well, this research and the outputs is what is often referred as an emerging field, the emerging field of responsible AI. And the practice of responsible AI ultimately aims to understand artificial intelligence as socio-technical systems, in order to study the different impacts that these systems can have in society and in the living environment, while at the same time designing theories, methods, frameworks that allow for development, deployment, governance, and ways of using AI systems that is more sustainable, more legal as well. So this is, well, the emerging field that is at the core of the master, and essentially the intention to create this master around responsible AI is because we know there's a growing need in both in the public and in the private sectors, particularly in Europe and in North America. That's important. But it's of course applies all around the world. And the need is to provide people that are working in tech, let's refer to them as tech workers, in all dimensions of the monster of digital economy, people that have technical, but in particular non-technical backgrounds. The need is to give them a set of capabilities, of mindsets, to be able to transform principles around responsibility, principles as transparency, as justice, as fairness, which are nothing else than ways of thinking, into ways of doing. So ways of assessing and mitigating the risks that the implementation of these systems is having, ways of increasing the digital media literacy in the wider public, and also learning of the best ways, the most responsible ways that humanity can use these very powerful technologies, these very powerful AI systems to address for example, the socio-ecological implications of the environmental emergency. So this is I think the cultural, the societal, the ecological relevance of starting to create conditions and a context for people like you, not only to learn more about how AI works, but also how we can get more people in the conversation of how it works, when to use it or not, how to use it, and everything in between. So the Master in Design for Responsible AI ultimately aims to address this need that I just described. And we want to do it with a part-time program. This is in particular because we think that the people that can benefit the most from this master are those who are currently working. So we actively design this master for people who, to make it work, for people that are already maybe inside a a company, or are already doing their consultancy practice or their freelance practice. So that, move away from the idea that you need to take like 1 year away to take a master. This is I think something. This doesn't mean that if you're looking for a master experience, this is not for you. It also is, but it is particularly designed for people that in the context of a post-pandemic world are working remotely, have more freedom, more flexibility, managing their own time. So this is the, let's say, like the main audience for this master. And the interest is to help you develop skills in topics as creative research, in context analysis, critical thinking and storytelling, in strategic decision making, while at the same time researching and investigating the very diverse ways in which AI systems are being implemented and how they are impacting our daily lives, and also thinking through societal issues. So thinking through AI, the different societal issues that we are facing. So the idea is that through understanding better how AI systems work, we can look into the challenges of creating sustainable technologies, the challenges of considering ethics in the way that digital economy operates, and in particular looking at the power systems that are underlying AI systems. So we're going to, in the master, we're going to explore this topic of social justice from a very, let's say, intersectional and a very transdisciplinary perspective. So it's I think that it's useful to say that this master is not only about AI, but it's also about seeing our reality through AI, using it almost as a thinking framework, and that is a big part of the approach that we have. It's also important to say that the program is partially informed by the insights and recommendations of a research that was released a couple of years ago, a framework for trustworthy AI education, that was part of an Erasmus Plus project, and is part of the responsible AI agenda of the European Commission. So we, both in this report, part of it recommends that there are these contexts where professionals can essentially shape technology in a way that is driven by societal values, rather by the interest of venture capital, of the interest of the kind of agendas that come from places as like monocultural places as Silicon Valley. So it is coming, or is informed as well by the insights of this existing research. Another important question is, who is this master for? So we are creating this for people with very diverse professional backgrounds, in particular people who are working in digital service design, in strategic communications, for example, UX, interaction design, which is a huge part of the tech sector, cultural management, political science, social innovation, journalists. We are very interested in having students and participants that have experience working in media, in editorial, essentially in telling stories, trends researchers, and also data scientists and people with a technical background are welcome. But it's also important to say that this is not a technical driven master. So here, if your expectation is to learn how to make AI, this is not a master, and I don't think that you can do a master to learn how to build an AI, because you need very solid mathematical foundations and many other things. So you need like more like a career for something like that. But we are going to try to understand how, like, the technical layer of these systems. So it's different to understand how, for example, how a car works, that building a car. That the analogy that I like to use. So yeah, this is the main. So we designed this master with the idea of bringing a group together, a group of practitioners, rather than making this for individuals looking to find a new job in tech. So this is why I hope that at the end we can have a mix of these disciplines, because this is what will make ultimately the master a very rich experience for everyone involved. So essentially, it's a very transdisciplinary master. In terms of career opportunities, there is the kind of focus that we want to have is to create specialists in the design of responsible AI. This let's say set of skills and expertise is something that I know is having an increasing demand across sectors. Many companies are starting to create their responsible AI departments. Many companies are developing their responsible AI or responsible tech agendas. As far as we know, there's no other master on responsible AI or design of responsible AI. So this presents a very unique opportunity to develop a very unique expertise, and overall to develop I think a network that a network of practitioners of, when in a minute when we go through the faculty, you will see the kind of networks that the participants of the master will have access to. So it's very, very transversal as well. There are areas or sectors as media, as the whole public innovation sector, sustainability sector, that are really eager to work with people that have this expertise. So that in terms of career opportunities. And I want to go quickly through the learning goals that I think can inform your evaluation of doing this master. So we have four main goals. The first one is about creating a collaborative learning environment for critical knowledge, for developing skills and capabilities that are needed to anticipate, to identify, investigate, and address the social, the ethical, the environmental, and the cultural challenges that are emerging from the implementation of AI systems around the world. Then the second learning goal is about expanding the ways of thinking about artificial intelligence and AI systems, so that you can better understand the technical foundations and state of the art of the related technologies in a social context, so that alongside understanding the full cycle of designing, developing, and evaluating an automated decision-making system, that you can also look into the impact that it is having in society and in the planet. The third learning goal is about providing broad and transdisciplinary range of perspectives, of approaches, of methodologies. So the field is a very emerging field, which is very open to plural approaches, different ways of addressing different challenges in very specific contexts. So this is why we are trying to, in the faculty in particular, to have a very diverse group, diverse set of perspectives, of ways of engaging with AI, because ultimately the idea is that after you do the master, you can go to any type of citizen, very like a politician or a CEO or your old neighbor, and have the language to explain them what AI is, what AI is not, how they are impacting their lives. So it has a strong literacy component. And the fourth goal, which in my opinion is the most important one, the one with more potential, is the goal of growing a network of design-driven specialists in understanding the multidimensional implications of AI systems. we want to have a strong focus on the implementation of the guidelines and the requirements that governmental bodies as the European Commission are already developing. So as I said before, there is a need to translate principles into narratives, into methods, the kind of things that designers, broadly speaking, are very good at. So this is the opportunity for all of us here. And I have been saying this idea of you becoming a specialist in this intersection of design and responsible AI. So I want to break down what I mean by becoming a specialist. There are 7 skills that we are considering in the design of the program, which are: first, you will be able to identify, analyze, and synthesize research on complex topics. And we will do this in creative, collaborative, and collective ways. Second skill is about transforming theoretical and academic knowledge related to the field of AI, which is quite abundant, into critical design tools, always guided by social values as responsibility, solidarity, or trust. The next skill is about being able to evaluate implications, societal, ethical, environmental, of the emerging use of AI systems, and evaluating all the available critical literature around this topic. The fourth skill is around debate. So this is a very strong element of the master. We're going to have lots of debates, because we believe it's a very strong learning tool. So the idea is to develop this skill of hosting a debate, of participating in a debate about the multiple impacts of AI in society, and in particular understanding the causes of these impacts, of these inequalities. So it's, as I mentioned, we're going to look deeper into the ties between AI and well, intersectional injustices that are shaping it. The fifth skill is about examining the strengths and weaknesses of the governance frameworks that are currently on place to address the impacts of AI systems, so that then you are able to design alternatives. The sixth skill is about designing, planning, and developing a creative research project in a translocal context. And by translocal context, I mean that you will be working with people that are located in different places than where you live. So that creates the opportunity to develop a particular skill that is, of course, in high demand today. And the seventh skill is around the outputs that you will be, the idea is that you will be learning in the open. So this will help you present arguments in a clear way, assemble comprehensive pieces of written work around developing research, so as research outputs. So these 7 skills together will make you a specialist in designing for responsible AI. Now I will do an overview of the program, going through the methodology, the format, and the structure of the program. So in terms of methodology, it's important to understand that the master is an experimental master when it comes to the method. So we are shaping it as a creative research collaboratory. This means that you enter the master not as a student, but you enter the master as a researcher. And this is the relationship that you will have with the faculty, the relationship that you will have between your peers, because the master has a strong focus on collaboration and transdisciplinary learning. So it's a lot of peer-to-peer learning, and investigating together, analyzing together complex topics, ultimately to make better decisions. And this is, for me, the most interesting part of working in understanding AI, is that I mean, this master could easily be like a master in better decision making, because this is at the core of these systems. So this is why we're having this methodology. So we'll be doing in-person and remote lectures, group discussions and debates, editorial challenges, tutorials, workshops, experiments, work a lot on interviews, editorial and media production, and develop a collective research project. So that will be the sum of the parts. So you will have your individual research projects, but they will be connected as one. And this is why we are going to ensemble and operate as a collaboratory, rather than the classic group of students that come to a class and take notes. That is like the old days, and we're trying to create a format that is for the 2020s, essentially. Then in terms of values, we believe that design is a plural decision-making practice. From IAM, we released a manifesto back in 2019 where we proposed designers and other professionals to design for values as humbleness, as responsibility, plurality, empathy, solidarity. And we're very keen to build on the principles of the Design Justice Network, which say that we need to rethink design processes to center people who are normally marginalized by design, and use collaborative creative practices to address the deepest challenges that these communities are facing. So there is a strong element, again, of bringing these values. This is why it's all about designing for responsibility. We will practice that. We will go deep into what that idea means and how that practice can evolve. Then in terms of the experience, I don't know how clear it is from the available information in the website, but this master is also special in terms of the format, at least in the context of Elizabeth, the only master that is offered in this way. It's a low residency mode. So it happens across 40 weeks over 10 months. And you will be expected to dedicate 10 to 12 hours per week to study and essentially to attend the sessions, participate in the sessions, but also to develop your own research and the tasks associated to the different sessions, to the different courses and projects. So as I mentioned, the master is categorized as flexible learning, so it's part-time. It is also blended in terms that it is a mix of remote and in-person. And we will look in a minute how that looks in calendar language. And the remote part, the online part, is going to be synchronous. So this means that we're going to have group sessions. We're applying all the learnings from the pandemic. This is not about having like super long Zoom calls at all. It is going to feel very much like working remotely, rather than spending a lot of time unnecessarily on the screen. We will be using different digital tools for this to make it as manageable as possible, and highly participatory. The main reason we are doing this is to be able to involve in particular people like you, participants from different places, without having to relocate completely for 10 months to Barcelona, but also to bring people in the faculty that are in different locations. So we will have people that are based in San Francisco, people that are based in Berlin, in London, in Chile. So this is what this format ultimately makes possible. So there will be the in-person part is split in 3 residencies, where you're expected to be in Barcelona. The first residency is the first week that is planned for the last week of September. The second residency is planned for 10 weeks before the spring break, which will be essentially 10 weeks across February and March in 2024. And then the last week when you will do the final presentations and the final reflection, which will be 1 week in June. The dates, I want to be, as flexible as possible in terms when, when I know that it is challenging to sign up and don't have confirmed dates. So we have some reference dates, but ultimately I want to make sure that the dates work for everyone. We do not have like a huge margin of moving dates. So these are indicative like placeholders in the calendar. But I also want to let you know that in particular, the dates for the second and third residency, we will be, let's say, validated with everyone who is admitted and decides to participate in the master. But this is the outline of the in-person part. Now the program structure, on the screen, you can see a little bit of an overview. Essentially, there are 3 terms and 7 modules. That is the program structure. The whole program will take about 40 weeks between the last week of September and mid to late June, depending on when we decide to do like the final week. So in the first term, we are going to start with a module on creative research and imagination, the collaboratory. So as I mentioned, this is a module that is going to be shaping the dynamics of the group. So we will set up a collaboratory. We will start as researchers. We will develop a series of activities around running a collaboratory of research with the help of the faculty. The second module is called the Decoding AI Systems. Here we are going essentially to get deep into AI, understand the technical aspect of it, understand the philosophies of AI, the narratives, how an automated decision-making system works, how AI is being applied, how artists are using AI, the field of creative AI. So we are going to do go deep into the state of the art of AI. Then in module 3, we are going to look into the implications of these AI systems, the implications in society, the links with social justice, the cultural impact, the digital sustainability, how AI is being used for climate emergency. So everything about the implications of these systems. And then we go into the second term. During this term, we're going to shift into learning about responsible AI, the foundations of responsible AI, the guidelines, the policies that are being developed, designed, and ultimately the intention is to understand what approaches can work to make AI more explainable to the general public. So here we have one module that is about responsible AI governance principles and requirements, going very deep into topics like the data governance, understanding the existing initiatives in Europe, in the US, around ethical AI. And the module 5 will going to see how these principles can be implemented, looking into ultimately designing a responsible AI toolkit, looking at best practices in machine learning, in explainable AI, bringing all design perspective on what responsible AI can be. Then for the last term, we're going to focus in the final project. So you will start working in the final project from the second term, but then the third term is where you're going to be like more full-time working on it. The faculty will shift into becoming tutors for your different projects. We will also find specific tutors for your, depending on how you shape your projects. Both faculty and myself, we're going to open up our networks to make sure that you have access to the best experts possible, and ultimately make the public presentations of these projects alongside group feedback and a collective reflection on how the whole learning experience went. Yeah, just as I just said, these final projects are an important part of the master, because by running this as a creative research collaboratory, everything is going to be driven by a research report, sorry, a research project. And the intention is that here you use what you already have in terms of your skills, your interest. So if someone wants to work in a video essay, you're super welcome to do it. If someone wants to explore a design fiction, that's perfect. If someone wants to create a research report, an editorial product, a documentary, so the outputs, I expect the outputs to be very different, and then all together they build or like tell like a meta story. So there's I guess this takes me to the seventh and last module, which is the Critical Design Media Lab. So this is also a transversal module where we ultimately want to practice is the idea of learning in the open. So essentially that, for example, after interacting in a number of lectures, of sessions, of conversations, you are then able to synthesize what your learnings in writings, in podcasts, in videos, in interviews. So essentially thinking of actively how we can share what we are learning with others. The way that we're going to do this is running a publication. So we're going to create a publication. We're going to be our own like editorial team, build our own editorial process. And the most fun part of it is that we will also be stewards of the infrastructure that will host this publication. We are going to collaborate with a local expert on low-tech digital publications. We are going to set up our own server. We are going to try to partner with the Solar Protocol team. So essentially, we're going to connect to a solar-powered internet network. And this will be like a way of learning how technologies work, and at the same time to become stewards of our own small experimental media publication. So I'm very excited about this part. And to finalize the faculty, I'm aware that we are running a little bit of time, but I think this is the, I would say like the cherry on top of everything else, is the people that have been accepting our invitation to join the faculty of this master. It's a pretty unique mix of people from, I will go through the names and tell a bit about themselves. So Ariel Wersenwijk, who is an ELISABA veteran and one of the leading experts on the ethics of design and the ethics of AI in Spain. So he will be actively working across the master as he is actually based in Barcelona. Then we have Filippo Cutica, who used to be the UX principal for ethical experiences at the BBC, doing really interesting work on helping the biggest media company in the world to implement emerging technologies. He's also an artist, and he will be involved in the implementation of, well, the implementation of responsible AI, following the work that he was doing at the BBC. We have also Xiaowei Wang, who is a writer, a coder, a facilitator, a researcher, an amazing human being, who also runs a school in San Francisco called the Logic School, and is well, it's currently involved in several initiatives in the US around collectively organizing tech workers, and very well connected in US networks to people working and interested in these topics. We also have Simone Rebaudengo, who is based, I think he's currently based in Belgrade. He's an Italian product and interaction designer who runs a studio called Oyo, who is playing a lot with AI. So this is a more complementary perspective of someone that is working with Google and Teenage Engineering and a lot of IKEA and many other companies in experimenting very playfully with AI. Then we have Michelle Thorne, who is currently a senior advisor at the Green Web Foundation. She's or at the Green Web Foundation, they are essentially looking at the environmental impacts of digital technologies, creating protocols for data centers to become more sustainable, hold the big tech more accountable on their environmental impact, and also working on the digital rights space. Caroline Sinders, a leading, I would say, researcher in the space of arts and technology. I know she's actively working in the implementation of AI in healthcare and looking at the implications amongst many other things. She's also quite well known for creating a feminist data set and bringing feminism to the tech conversations. We also have Buse Settin, who is the co-founder of an initiative called Dreaming Beyond AI, a policy researcher that is has been very active in the last few years, looking at how marginalized voices are developing experiments, are raising awareness on the social implications of AI systems. She has been also working with a lot of organizations in Europe, researching how to develop governance systems around AI. We have also Martín Pérez Comiso, who is a Chilean researcher currently finishing his PhD in the University of Arizona, I think. He's a specialist in researching social technical systems and also teaching on social technical systems. So very, very much looking forward to his contributions to the program. We also have Nadia Piet, who started, she's a creative technologist and designer, who started a couple of years ago a community called AI X Design, which is I would say, the only community that is in the world that is bringing together AI, so creative technologies working in AI and designers. They have like around 400 people in their community. They are close partners and very excited that they will take part of this master. We also have Abdo Hassan, who is last year he was hired by IKEA to join the responsible AI team as a digital ethics specialist. He's also a poet and a data activist based in Amsterdam. And the last addition, who is still not public in the website, is Nashin Yazdani. She's an AI researcher and also interaction and transformation designer. She's also part of the Dreaming Beyond AI collective based in Berlin. And she will be contributing the social justice perspective to this whole conversation. So as you can see, and there's a video on the website where I guess that you already watched, where some of the members of the faculty share some of their insights. So as you can see, it is going to be already a very, very nice experience, and to meet all of these people. And to finalize, I wanted to mention something that I think is not that clear and evident and might be useful for some of you regarding the application and the payments. So you need to apply once you get approved. If I mean, when it comes to paying, you can pay up to three in up to 3 installments, which means that you can pay 25% when you receive the admission confirmation, and then pay the remaining 25% by September, so just before we start the master, and then the remaining 50% by the end of January. So you have like a significant amount of months to pay the total fee that of the master, that is 12,500 euros. So I didn't knew that, for example. I learned about this recently and thought that it was worth sharing this with you. I guess, I mean, I do have some time, but if you need to leave, here is my email, so you can email questions. I'm also available if you want to schedule a one-on-one call and have like a specific question or doubt or anything, just email me and I'll try my best to find a slot in my calendar to organize a call with any of you who are interested. And for any application related questions, well, you can follow up with Esther. So thanks a lot for joining this presentation, and I'm now ready to take some questions.
Okay, does anyone have questions about the program?
I see that Carly is asking if the presentation or the recording will be shared. I think that we can share it, right?
Yeah, we will be sharing this video once it's finished. So if any one of you wants a video, I can send it to you by email as well.
Great. And then Roxanne is asking, do we get an accredited master's degree from Elizaba at the end of this part-time master's program?
Okay.
I think you can. I think the answer is yes, but maybe you can add more details, Esther.
Yeah, you will be getting a master's diploma at the end of the program. All our master programs are not official, so it's technical master programs, which means that you cannot like do a PhD later, but we have another program here at Elizaba that can be like can be done with a master program from us, and it allows you to do a PhD later. So we can have a really like practical master program, and also this mentioned in research that gives you the credits you need for a PhD. Okay, in case you want to do the PhD later. Any more questions? Not really. Roxanne?
So, well, I guess we can wrap up now. Just wanted to thank you again for joining, and yeah, really hope that you decide to apply. We'll be reviewing. So our intention is to do like a first wave of admissions and review candidates, etc. by March. And then do like a second wave around May. So I mean, of course, as always, the earlier you apply, the best it will be for everyone. We expect to confirm dates and everything. Yeah, around May, depending on how the whole admissions process goes. So yeah, thanks again for joining, and see you hopefully very, very soon.
Thank you very much. I will just stay a bit more just to explain the registration process a bit further. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. 1 second, just to make sure. Okay. So basically, the application is done online. Okay. And here it's the master program. And in the left side, you can see that there is this apply now. Okay, well, now it's not working. Okay, now. So here you select the program that it's starting on 22nd of September. And once you select the program and read the information and conditions, you can accept that and go to the second part of it and just complete your personal data. Once you have complete all your personal data, you need to attach 3 files that Andres will be checking for the admission. These 3 files are your passport, your CV, and letter of motivation. With that documents, Andres can check your profile and see if you are able to do the master program. After sending the files, though, there is a payment of the registration fee that is 500 euros. Once you complete the payment, then Andres will see the documents and decide about your admission. If you are admit, you can just book your place by making the first payment of the master program. And if you are not admit, we refund you back this amount. So there is no problem about it. Okay. And well, I think that's almost everything. I'm not sure if any of you have more questions about the application process. If any of you have any other question, then I think we can maybe finish the webinar. Thank you very much, Andres, for your help. I think it's
sorry, sir. There is one question. Maybe I can take
question.
it. It's from Miranda. It's what are you looking for in the letter of motivation? Thanks. It's a really good question.
Yeah.
Because it's very generic always the format, no? So I would say since I will be the main person reviewing it, what I would like to get from a letter is to understand or essentially know the answer to the question, or why are you interested in doing these masters? It is let's say nothing that I will evaluate or score. Is just information, because I guess that what we want to make sure is that there is a good match between the expectations, the needs, of course the motivation, and what we are able to offer. Just be honest, try to be just concise, and write something that is just addressing this question, and that's pretty much it. We'll try to review all of this as fast as possible, and if there's any need for like a follow-up call or anything, we'll let you know. But thanks for that good question, Miranda.
There is another one. Do we need any letter of recommendation for this application? Andres?
No.
Not really. I mean, if you want to attach a recommendation letter with your CV, for us, it's okay, but it's not mandatory. So
exactly.
It's optional.
Another question. So in terms of funding options,
okay, the scholarships. I think this year it's not confirmed yet, but we are going to open 10 scholarships of the 50% applying to all our master programs. These scholarships are going to open next 7th of March. Documents as like portfolio, CV, or a video presentation. Will be some documents like that, but just keep in mind that it's the 7th of March, and you will have between 2 weeks and 3 weeks to apply, okay? And also with the payments, we have the 3 payments that Andres told you about. The you can pay in three times, but in case that you apply earlier, we have the option to ask for splitting the payment in 4 or 5 payments in case you need it. So we are a bit flexible about it.
Yeah, so if I may add, essentially, if you have like a financial concern in terms of making the decision of applying and all of that, just the message from the school and from myself as the director, we are very interested in first of all knowing who really wants to take this master, who can benefit from it. As Esther said, there is quite a lot of flexibility of funding. There will be some scholarships also being offered in the upcoming weeks and months. So just let us know, about your interest. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, remember that we are always available as well at masters@elisava.net for any question, or if you want us to call you, we can also call you anytime. If there are no more questions right now, just keep in mind that we are also like active all the time. So if you need anything, just let us know.
There's a question about applying before the scholarships.
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
you know the answer to this one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, all the students that are applying to the program, there are like two different processes. One applying to the master program, another one to the scholarship. It's not necessary to be registered to the program to apply to the scholarships. So in case you are already registered, you can also apply. It is the same. I mean, we are going to choose the students through the portfolio, CV, or the video if we ask for a video, and not if it's not relevant if they are registered or not.
Yeah, yes, you also, to clarify, you mentioned the portfolio.
Oh yeah.
That I requested the school not to ask for a portfolio. It is kind of by default that they ask for portfolio. So I'm not sure if they are still in the application form, if they are still asking for it. But if that's the case, just upload the CV again, just to fill the field. But there's no need to submit a portfolio to apply to this master.
Yeah, I think there is already like 3 attached files that will be
Right.
the passport, CV, and letter. But yeah, but in case they ask, you can attach the CV. Do you have any more questions about application or content? Not really. Okay, so do we finish then, maybe? Yeah. Okay, then thank you very much, all of you, for being here today. And thank you, Andres, for your speech. It was very good. And remember that if you want to apply to September, there are 2 deadlines, the 7th of May for non-European and 1st of September for European students. All the application is done online. And if you need anything or you have any questions, you can contact us at masters@elisava.net. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you. And well,